Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I don't like when a certain army hides behind civilians or around historical monuments and they shoot at the enemy. Or if they just, shoot from around a nuclear power plant or something like that, and they hope that the enemy will not shoot back because they do not want to create, collateral damage. And in this case, it's not that the Russians care if I like it or not, but I think it's kind of like a weasel move when you have the Russian military attacking or shelling Ukraine from the territory of Belarus. I think that's low because you know that Ukraine will not probably shoot against Belarus, so the Belarus can say, you know what, you violated our territory and then we're gonna do this and that. Even though I think that would work for the benefit of the Ukrainians, because if they do that and Belarus steps in, then obviously the other side will step in. So maybe if the Ukrainians will get cornered, they might shoot down something coming from Belarus, or maybe an airfield or something, and then Belarus will feel like they need to react, and when they're going to react, then the Ukrainians look at their sponsors and say, see, we did it. Do I get a little sugar? And there you have it. That would be a reason for the other side to really get in. But I don't think they want to get in, because if they wanted, they could have gotten in so far and have the Ukrainian shell something in Belarus a long time ago and create this. But I think the guys over there, their sponsors, say, no, do not provoke Belarus because we don't want to get in. You just want to use you. Through you, we want to fight Russia and, if possible, Belarus without anybody else. So we don't want to get Belarus in, because otherwise it's going to mean that we have to get in, and we don't want to get in. We want only you to be gone and your nation disappear in the name of freedom, and you defended Europe. Yeah. Ukrainska Pravda, August 28th, right? Russia launches at least 5 missiles at Ukraine from Belarus. Russia launched at least 5 missiles at Ukraine from the territory of Belarus over the course of Sunday, 28th of August. Weasel move, but what can you do? Belaruski Hajun, an independent Belarusian military monitoring media outlet, is the source. Details. Belaruski Hajun reports that the missiles were launched between 1929 and 1939. That is 7:29 p.m. and 7:39 p.m. So within 10 minutes, they launched all those missiles. At 1914, which is 7:14 p.m., at least 5 Russian military aircraft, including several hypersonic Tu-22M bombers armed with missiles, entered Belarusian airspace from Mstislav in Russia. So they came from Russia, entered Belarus, probably released their whatever they have, the missiles, turned around, went back. The Russian aircraft then flew over Rogachev and the Aktzibraski district of Gomel Oblast, Belarus. The 5 missiles were launched at 1929, 7:29 p.m. over the Aktzibrask district towards the southwest. The aircraft immediately turned around and flew towards Moglev. More missiles were launched at 1932, 7:32 p.m. from the Pietrikav district, Gomel Oblast, at 1935, 7:35 p.m. from Aktzibrski district, and at 1938, 7:38 p.m. from the Pietrikav district again. Additional missiles launched could be heard over Turov and Mozir. Belaruski Hajun also obtained information that 5 explosions or missile launches were heard over Mikatsevich, Luninesk and Stolin between 1938 and 1940. Belaruski Hajun reports that these sounds might have accompanied the earlier launches, though it is also possible that additional missiles were launched then. Around 5 Russian aircraft returned back to the Russian Federation via Mstislav between 1944 and 1953. Background: on 28th of August, Russian forces carried out 4 missile strikes on a military target in the south of Sarny and Rivne Oblast, Ukraine. So these things took off from Russian territory, went over Belarusian territory, zam zam zam, released whatever they needed to release, and then return home. Now, is it acceptable in the name of reciprocity to hit the airfields where those planes took off? I think it's legitimate 100%. And also it's legitimate to shoot those planes while they are on top or over on top over the Belarusian airspace. So they're over there, that's fair game. Now the Russians, they put S-300, S-400s over there ready at the border with Belarus. So if the Ukrainians would try to shoot, they shoot them down if they can, allegedly. So I don't know why. And then if you look at this, obviously, or it seems, seemingly, the Ukrainians do not have the range to hit those targets yet, because as I said, I think this war is a very much controlled, restrained war on both sides. When I'm talking about both sides, is Russia and Ukraine, because the West tell them so. West being United States of America. They direct and they tell them what to do, as the Russians stated, and they bragged at one point and then they zipped it. They provide with targets and they also coordinate this and that. So I'm pretty much sure that's what occurs. I don't think it's like a genius scenario here. So they're not provided, they being the Ukrainians, are not provided with long-range missiles. That's why they can't go over the Belarusian territory to hit those targets over there, or even probably shoot them while they're over the Belarusian territory, which I didn't look on the map to see how close do these aircraft come to the border with Ukraine, and then they turn around. Because if they come too close, they probably could do that. But if they come too far, let's say within 100 miles or so, the Ukrainians, I know they don't have the capability, allegedly, to hit them. Even though they hit, if you remember, they hit what they hit in Crimea, which they said, oh my God, this is should be more than 180 miles from the front line. So the Ukrainians must have some ability, some rockets, some missiles able to hit at least 180 kilometers, I think, or miles, I can't remember, but nevertheless, it's more than the supposedly HIMARS missiles were provided to be within, I think, 60 kilometers or 60 miles. It doesn't really matter, 60 miles, it's 80 kilometers or something, 85 or something like that. It's not a big deal. So the Russians hit them over there. These guys, I didn't hear anything about retaliations. It's like sitting ducks. Didn't do anything. Well, that means then the Russian, then I would say the Ukrainian, if you remember, they ran when the first started the whole thing in February 24th. Some Ukrainian fighters ran away from the Russians or so, or whatever they did, and they landed in an airfield, military airfield in Romania. And the Russians turned around and didn't chase them. And they said, next time, if those airplanes take off from Romanian airspace and do the same thing and come back, we're gonna hit the Romanian airfield. Never heard that happen again. But wait a minute, isn't that the same thing you guys are doing? Using, for instance, what's his name, Belarusian airspace? I think is the same thing. So it's fair game here. So again, controlled, and so many barriers. Probably the Russians say, if you don't do this, I'm going to bombard Kiev, we're going to flatten it. I don't know what the threats are, and because I am 100% certain those guys are communicating behind us. We don't know anything about it, and I'm talking about Americans and Russians. I'm 100% they are in constant communication to avoid accidents. Well, this is it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you next.